The Cleveland Browns are now down another skill player on the offensive side of the ball as they get ready to make a trip to one of the most difficult places to play on the road in the entire NFL in Seattle, Washington. Your latest Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, and I appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. Join the everyday crowd by subscribing to Locked On Browns YouTube channel, and of course, Locked On Browns is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Within, early this morning, late last night, obviously the speculation we all knew there was an injury. Jerome Ford, having left the Indianapolis Colts game early, 69-yard touchdown run to get the day started. Didn't do much running the ball, did aid the Browns as far as being a receiver for Jerome to this point. Obviously, it's been a nice effort here, for a guy who was thrust into a lot more playing time after the injury to Nick Chubb. Still want to commend him on the effort he gave in the Pittsburgh Steelers game. Came in what was a really, really difficult spot as the team. Everyone kind of just, down. Jerome Ford closes out the drive that Chubb got hurt on, catches the touchdown pass, contributes later with a 69-yard touchdown. Obviously, his effort against the Tennessee Titans, a solid one as well. Rebounded after a couple of tough outings. Good outing against San Francisco 49ers. Solid outing yardage-wise against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. But now we'll be out with minimum, it looks like 1 week. You figure maybe possibly two. The best thing you're going to do here for Jerome Ford is try to get him ramped up and ready to go for the Baltimore Raven game, which, of course, Seattle this week, Arizona next, and then your second matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns did make a running back move today. Brought back Jordan Wilkins. If everybody remembers, Jordan Wilkins was with the team over the summer, participated in some, obviously, preseason games. Ball handling was certainly an issue, but very similar to when they were in a tough spot and had to bring Kareem Hunt back. They need somebody who's kind of acclimated and could come in and be possibly somebody that can play right away. And Jordan Wilkins, with his time with the team over the summer, certainly becomes a guy that could do this, could be the third running back in line for the Cleveland Browns Sunday in Seattle. Now you've already been to your third string quarterback, however you're going to, view DTR and PJ Walker. So you already played three quarterbacks. So you've been down to your third quarterback. You're without Nick Chubb for the rest of the season. You're now without his backup in Jerome Ford. So you're already down to your third running back to this point. Not an ideal situation. And for a team, if they're not going to have Deshaun Watson, or even if they do have Deshaun Watson, a team that's going to need to be able to run the football. As much as, the Browns really thought this was going to be the year where they, elevated the passing game, took the passing game to another level. The passing game became a, more of a staple, basically the foundation of the Cleveland Browns offense. We have not seen anything yet to this point to believe that is the case. Obviously the Tennessee Titans game, there were certainly some, promise, and I think we all thought we were in for better days. And then obviously, Deshaun getting injured in that game, on being able to go for 2 weeks and then coming back, and still waiting word. The day-to-day thing, it's monotonous. I get it, I know, but if they don't have any more information to give, they just don't have any more information to give. So you're in this difficult spot here. And, Kareem Hunt obviously was banged up. You saw Coach Stefanski mention after the game, when he gave him a game ball, basically out there on one leg. Is this something where Kareem is no longer going to be a guy who practices? Certainly possible. And you just hope you can get whatever you can get out of him, come game day. Pierre Strong looks to be lined up for maybe a more prominent role here in the Seattle game. It's something I'm okay with. I'm not guaranteeing Pierre Strong is going to go out there and be a world beater. I'm not guaranteeing Pierre Strong is going to go out there and string together 100-yard games. I just think Pierre Strong has some ability that I think is going to work and should work within the framework of this Cleveland Browns offense. Obviously, the elite speed is a solid trait. The other thing is, Pierre Strong has good enough vision. And this is one thing you've noticed since Nick Chubb has been gone is, Browns running backs exploiting the cutback lanes. Obviously, this is the whole point of the wide zone. Obviously, you get everything moving one way, and it's either there and you just go north and get your yardage, or you start to see that those linebackers are creeping too much, and then you just basically run to the spot where they vacated. And I think Pierre Strong, with his ability to, and I noticed some of it obviously in his carries to this point, and obviously just the overall juice he's got within his legs, this is something where Pierre Strong can maybe help this offense. They certainly need this to be the case. They're going to need to be able to run the ball, because even with Deshaun Watson right now, you have no confidence that he can go out there and go throw for throw with every quarterback in the NFL. So the best thing you want to do is try to shorten these games. Obviously, put the time of possession factor in a huge, obviously positive way for the Cleveland Browns here. The more, obviously get your defense rest, but the more you can get, defense on the field, hopefully with a lead, hopefully rested, is you're just going to see better play from them and more consistent play from them, and which has kind of been the case here. And yes, it was a down week. They had a good week against the Tennessee Titans, had a down week against the Baltimore Ravens, had a great week against San Francisco 49ers, had a down week against the Indianapolis Colts. And we're going to get into the Seattle talk here a little bit more, and we'll start to talk a little bit about the Seahawks here in segment 3. And they're a really interesting team, from offensively, defensively, and we're going to start to break that down here. We'll have a crossover episode tomorrow with Corbin Smith from Locked On Seahawks, of course, and then start close out the week with a pregame show. And by the end of the week, we should be up and running in the new studio. The new Wi-Fi will be installed on Thursday, so I'm excited. Finally, it's a situation for me where, it's going to finally have, my own spot for my dedication to this show. I'm really, really looking forward to it, as you guys know, but we're basically, our requirements here are 5 episodes a week. I'd love to do more. And I think I'm going to have the ability to do that. And maybe we can start doing maybe a night recording, possibly even some live episodes, bring some guests in for that, and obviously get you guys more involved. I appreciate you all for everything to this point here. But the Browns, for the now, Jerome Ford out minimum this week, which increases the workload for Pierre Strong. Obviously, if Kareem Hunt can handle a bigger workload, there's probably a bigger workload coming for Kareem Hunt. And unless another move is made, which I'm saying is not going to happen, Ronald Jones, certainly a name to keep your eyes out for here, guys. Then you would also possibly see, Jordan Wilkins being part of the backfield in Seattle, if not playing special teams. And as far as the quarterback position, I guess we'll all start to know maybe about lunchtime tomorrow where we're at with the quarterback position, where Deshaun Watson is at. So with that, there's your Browns news of the day. And obviously Jerome Ford, and it's been tough. Obviously Jerome Ford, I think all of us are, kind of high on the kid. But in reality is Jerome Ford missed a month of his rookie season. He missed a month of the summer this year. He's now down. You hope this isn't something that's going to continue to trend in a bad way for Jerome Ford. Guys finally get his opportunity here in the NFL. So hopefully, basically just a blip in the radar screen. And once Jerome gets through this, he'll be ready to go here for the second half. We're going to switch it up here. We're going to talk about, how this offense and the injuries and what they need to overcome here and ways they can overcome it. Of course, starting with the Seattle game and, of course, Arizona afterwards as they start to sneak towards that big matchup, of course, with the Baltimore Ravens in 3 weeks. Jeff Floyd, your latest Locked On Browns. Appreciate you all for sticking along for the ride. I've never been one to wait till the last minute to make plans, but, things dictate and have a way of dictating themselves. My wife, my girls, we never know what anybody's schedules are. And where we live, we have a lot of places with great local music. So we try to take the opportunity to go see it. But the thing is, we are last minute ticket purchasers. So you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. You could buy last minute tickets. You get a view from the seat in the venue. You get a lowest price guarantee. You get event cancellation protection. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All in prices show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal with no hidden fees. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last minute deals. And the Gametime guarantee means you'll always always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. And as always, I appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day in the everyday crowd, which just seems to get bigger and bigger. Join the everyday crowd by subscribing to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. And of course, the show is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, as we talk about the Browns with their injuries, and we have no idea who's going to be under center as far as the quarterback position this week. We have an idea of maybe 2 running backs who will be able to play for the Cleveland Browns. Well, maybe 1.5 as we still wait to see the word on Kareem Hunt and where his body is at. Took a couple of big hits again on Sunday. And Kareem's been a kind of a warrior here. The statistical output is not something you're going to look at. He's making key plays in key situations. Obviously, the Wildcat touchdown, which he took a big hit on. Obviously all bodies all over him, trying to pull him out of the end zone after he crossed the goal line on the game-winning touchdown. It's been a real solid effort for Kareem Hunt here. And I think Kareem's just enjoying himself, and certainly at a different point in his career now than he was in his glory days with the Kansas City Chiefs, where, probably considered one of the top running backs, if not the top running back in the NFL. And now here he is kind of just, a veteran, getting less of the opportunity, but trying to make the most of the opportunity. And you see a gleam in his eyes. You see the excitement from Kareem Hunt just about being a part of all this. Obviously he holds his franchise dear to his heart, obviously from this area. They were the ones when he was going through, obviously, his own off-field turmoil. The Cleveland Browns were the ones that extended the olive branch, basically gave him a contract. They didn't even know what type of suspension Kareem Hunt was facing at the time. So I think Kareem Hunt, he holds this franchise in a high affinity. I think he also feels, that he's going to do whatever he can for this franchise, because this franchise was there for him when he needed somebody in the worst possible way. I'm going to continue to say, look, maybe it's a hunch. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Who knows? Certainly possible. It wouldn't be the first time, right, guys? But I just think there's something there with Pierre Strong. And again, I'm not trying to say you're going to get this ridiculous, statistical output, or he's going to be this incredible game changer. I'm not telling anybody to go scoop him up for your fantasy teams. I just think there is an athletic set there, an athletic skill set there that should play well within this offense. The Browns, in the entire time, they've never had a true speed running back the way that Pierre Strong can run. And you saw it in the Raven game. Obviously had the big run there, a big run late, obviously, against the Indianapolis Colts once Jerome Ford was out of that game. This is something I just want to see more of. And I think there's something there. And I think, even if it's only a couple of weeks, because, once Jerome is back into the fold, I don't think you're going to find a way to have maybe 10 to 12, maybe 15 touches for Pierre Strong. But sometimes you don't know what you got till you absolutely have to use it. And maybe that is something the Cleveland Browns could find this week when they travel to Seattle. They're going to have to call Pierre Strong's number. They got no choice. It's just the way it is. They need it back. He's here. He knows the system. So I think it's going to be interesting the way that works out. Is he going to return kicks? My guess would probably be no. You're probably going to have to take him off kick return team. Granted, nobody really returns kicks in the NFL anyway. But last thing you want is Pierre Strong wasting this, wasting the reps, wasting the effort, returning kicks when he's going to be needed, and obviously going to be a lot higher in the running back pecking order than he has been in previous weeks here. But there are things to talk about, things that need to be done better. Now, ESPN recently just released, their statistical, model for wide receiver success. A.J. Brown was number 1. Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers was number 2. One of the more interesting takeaways from that was they were tracking most open wide receivers in the NFL. The 5th most open wide receiver in the NFL to this point, according to the ESPN tracker, is Elijah Moore. We've all been saying it. This was the same thing we talked about with Elijah Moore when he came here from the New York Jets. It seemed like Elijah Moore was always open with the New York Jets as well. I keep telling you, I don't need him to do the special sauce stuff. I don't need all of that. I don't need the jet sweeps. Once in a while, I understand, but to feature it, no, it's just not there. And he's certainly not succeeding as well as a wide receiver as you need him to for this to, be the way you're going to use Elijah Moore. You're not fooling anybody. So this is why you need to continue to work on this. And I believe it was 5 for 54 against the Colts. Obviously most of that yardage came on the big 30-yard reception in the fourth quarter. PJ Walker's best ball by far that day. But you're going to have to start getting this passing game going. And it was okay for a couple of weeks when, you found a way to get Amari Cooper for over the 100-yard mark. And then he basically just got everybody else involved in a little bit. And all of a sudden, he put up a decent effort, and enough to match the running game, enough to match the defense, and enough to get yourself some W's. It's not going to be, but that was luck. It's not going to continue to be this way. You've got to get Cooper involved. You've got to get Elijah Moore involved. Donovan Peoples-Jones has single-digit receptions. I got to be honest, I would have never, ever thought that was going to be the case this year after the season he put together last year. Again, when he's open. It's not like he's covered. And these Browns quarterbacks got to get through the progressions faster, whoever it is, whether it's Deshaun Watson, whether it's DTR, whether it's PG Walker. They've got to get through the progressions faster. You got to get, David Njoku, you see, it's starting to get a slight uptick. And that's the thing, because if you can start hitting this vertical stuff and, it's going to make everything so much easier. These teams understand when you're down, these defenses understand once you're down to your second, your third string quarterbacks. They're not really going to be, key. They're not going to be defending the vertical passing game. Why should they? You hit a couple, we'll consider it. But, most likely when you've got a second or third string quarterback that it's going to be the underneath stuff. It's going to be the short, quicker stuff. Nobody's, fooling anybody. Everybody knows what the game plan is when a backup quarterback comes in. And that's why the Browns are going to have to work on some vertical, and they're going to have to get some balls down the field. And Coach Stefanski, to his credit, has been crazy as far as, some of the stuff he's come up with here. Obviously the Wildcat, with Kareem Hunt, the Harrison Bryant, basically, using him as the quarterback sneak quarterback, and then coming up with that creative play to get to Kareem Hunt on the outside for the touchdown against the San Francisco 49ers. Coach is trying to come up with some tricks here and pulling some stuff out of his bag. But the thing is you guys do some of the routine, and some of the routine should hit, and getting a guy like Elijah Moore involved more, getting the ball in his hands more. And, look, I'm not saying you're going to have to turn away from Amari Cooper as your future receiver, but when Elijah Moore is getting open at the alacrity that he's getting open, you've got to get him the ball. It's wasted. This guy has great open field ability, and it's not that Coop doesn't run well after the catch. Elijah Moore has much better yard after the catch ability. The Browns got to find a way to feature this. The Browns got to find a way to use this, and they just got to get overall better. And if they can get better throwing the ball, they can probably offset the loss of Nick Chubb, probably offset the current loss of Jerome Ford, and run the ball better as well. But nobody's going to be fooled until this team starts throwing the football better. It's going to be an issue for this team to score points. It's going to be an issue for this team to get points. It's just going to be an issue. They have to start throwing the ball better if they want to be competitive. And this applies to Deshaun Watson. It applies to DTR. It applies to whatever quarterback, PJ Walker, that plays for this team. The passing game right now is one of the worst in the NFL. Really can't go any lower. So I guess the thought process would be here. It's probably going to start getting better, and hopefully start getting better soon. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. Appreciate everybody for being along for the ride. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. All you need to do is start filling out the questionnaire as far as what you were looking for, as far as education, as far as abilities, as far as skills. And then you add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. PrizePicks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Testing my skills on PrizePicks this football season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 in just a few taps. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. If you want to put together a lineup for this Browns-Seahawks game, you have great wide receivers in Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and of course, Tyler Lockett. Or do you like Kenneth Walker? Do you like the Browns defense? So maybe you like Kenneth Walker. On the lower scale, all things you can do with PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the promo code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. And of course, I appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen. Join the everyday crowd by subscribing to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Shows always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. Browns currently sit 4-2 and obviously traveling to Seattle here this week. We've got the Arizona Cardinals the week after that at home before your next matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. Right now, the Browns 1 game behind the Baltimore Ravens as far as the standings are concerned. Maybe you would consider it 1.5, of course. The Browns right now sit at 5-2. The Browns sit at 4-2. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens already have an advantage of having beaten the Browns the first time. Browns need to start keeping pace here. And look, I'm not talking about keeping pace with the rest of the division. I'm talking about keeping pace with the team that is in first place. Currently, that is Baltimore Ravens. You go to Seattle, it's a really, really difficult place to play. Obviously, the sound, the stadium itself, all the 12s out there and their attendance making all the noise that they can. And the Seahawks are just a good football team. There's nothing I would say that overwhelmingly astounds you about this team. You can run the ball pretty well with Walker. Geno Smith's got a great relationship with his wide receivers. Of course, Metcalf. Of course, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Of course, Tyler Lockett, one of the most underrated guys in the entire NFL. Noah Fant has played well out there. You get to the defensive side of the ball, they blitz their linebackers. They get a lot of pressure with them. Witherspoon, the rookie cornerback, he just looks like an absolute beast. So certainly going to be interesting how this works out. And I know it's a difficult place to play. But, you've played in games like this. You've already beaten the San Francisco 49ers. This team is not going to throw much at you that the Browns haven't seen. And with Denzel, certainly with Martin Emerson, certainly with Greg Newsome, there should be a way you match up with the wide receiver crew from Seattle and match up pretty well with them. So then it comes down to obviously your defensive line versus Seahawks offensive line. Browns certainly have the advantage there. Your linebackers have been played really, really well. We'll see if maybe Sione Takitaki gets back into the fold this week. However, Tony Fields did play extremely well for the Browns last week. Hit 6 solo tackles, also recovered a fumble, his second touchdown in the NFL in 2 years for Tony Fields. So you've just got to go in there with the mindset of, it doesn't matter that you're going on the road, and it doesn't matter that the Seattle Seahawks are wearing their old school throwbacks, the Steve Largent uniforms. Sure, I'm looking forward to see them, but I'm also looking forward to hopefully the Browns beating the daylights out of the Seattle Seahawks while wearing said uniforms. It's a long road trip, obviously. And again, you're going to be down at least another running back. It could possibly be down your quarterback. I don't even know, do we even know who the #1 quarterback is currently for the Cleveland Browns? Obviously it should be Deshaun Watson, but we have no idea, just the way it's going here right now. And of course we're still, at Tuesday, obviously Wednesday, hopefully maybe a little more clarity, Thursday, Friday, as the week starts to, open up here a little bit. The Browns are in the middle here of, 2 straight road games. Of course, Indy, a close one, now going a lot further out into Seattle, for this big game against a Pete Carroll coach team. Pete Carroll, as old as he is, still puts out a quality product season in, season out. Took a lot of guff for the Russell Wilson move, but you want to know what? Made the playoffs last year with Geno Smith. So far, this team looks pretty good this year. Added solid players. They know the product they want in Seattle. They know what they're looking to do with the Seattle Seahawks. So you just continue to, I don't know if I wanted to say be amazed, but really, really impressed by what Pete Carroll has done and what that franchise has done out there in Seattle. And this is going to be a big one. Obviously, the Browns need to keep it close. You got to keep the crowd out of the game. The Browns are going to be coming with the defense ready and loaded for bore. Geno Smith, not really an agile guy, but agile enough that, if the Browns are over pursuing in their pass rush, that Geno can make some, plays with his legs, things like that. So this is by no means an easy game here. Seattle knows who they are, and they stick to what they do, and they do it really well. Again, they're not going to wow you, but they just stick to what they're going to do. So, we're going to continue with this. Obviously, we'll get to the crossover episode. I'm looking forward to sitting down. NFC West, we don't get to talk to these guys all the time, so it's been a while since I broke bread with Corbin Smith. Looking forward to do that tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to get you a pregame episode. We should be back in the new studio, hopefully, for Thursday. And I'm giddy. I'm excited. Maybe start trying to take the opportunity to do a couple live episodes at night here during the week, bringing some guests in here, and just giving you guys the best absolute Cleveland Browns content I can on a day in, day out basis. I am Jeff Lloyd. I've been your host now. Here's my 7th season here covering the Browns with you all for Locked On Browns. Couldn't be more thankful for all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. Join the everyday crowd. Subscribe to that Locked On Browns YouTube channel. And, of course, Locked On Browns is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go, Browns.
You are Locked